20 minutes. Not that I get angry about that. Is the midpoint formula. Guys, what is midpoint? Let's keep that one really simple here. What is midpoint? Say again?
I said a point between 2 points.
How far between 2 points? In the middle. What's another word for middle? Halfway. Okay, it's the half point. Does that make sense? We're halfway. Okay? So again, guys, I want you to think about this for a minute. Take my thing I did up here earlier, right? 3 to 10. How far did I travel?
7.
What's halfway between 3 and 10? Close. Doesn't count evenly. What did you guys say? 7.5? 6.5. How'd you get that? Go ahead, Morgan. Louder.
I wrote them all down and left them off on the side until they were.
Okay, now there's one method to do it. And then there's an actual, like, faster method. Okay? What's the faster method that we can do? Okay? What were you saying? No, not quite. Okay?
What if it's the midpoint? Wouldn't it be the total distance divided by 2?
There we go. It's their sum. You're going to add them up and divide by 2. Okay? So we take 10 and 3, right? 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So basically, when we look at our midpoint formula, that's exactly what you're doing. You're finding the halfway point on the horizontal, which means you're going to add your x's and divide by 2. And then you're going to find your halfway point on the y, and that will give you your midpoint on the segment. So when we look at the midpoint, oops, wrong button. We have this formula. Add your x's and divide by 2. Add your y's and divide by 2. I'm going to say this very fast and quick. We're running out of time. It's really, really important here to make the difference between distance and midpoint. Midpoint is going to give you a coordinate. It's going to give you a point on the segment. Distance measures length. It's going to give you a number. Midpoint gives you a point as a coordinate. So when I ask you guys to find the distance, nobody should be telling me 3, 5. Doesn't quite fit what I'm asking for. Okay, so it's really important that you guys make that distinction. So we'll model a problem, and then I want to do another problem with you guys on top of that. So let's look at number 1. Number 1, we're trying to find the midpoint between -4.11 and -3.4. All right, so according to the midpoint formula, I add my x's and divide by 2, and I add my y's and divide by 2. Okay, so my x's, -4 plus, notice what I'm doing with the -3? I put in parentheses. Why would I do that? Yeah, it really helps us keep track of that negative, where it's at. How many of you guys have lost negatives before when you're doing math problems? Right? Hundreds of times? Yeah, unfortunately, you just keep doing that. No perfect way of getting around it. All right, so then we have 11 plus 4. All right, what's -4 plus -3? So that's -7 over 2. All right, and what's 11 plus 4? 15 over 2. All right, can either of those fractions be simplified? Can they be reduced? I can go down to a decimal, but can I break down those numbers anymore? No, so this is where we leave it. -7 halves and positive 15 halves. All right, any questions on finding midpoint? What?
Wait, so that's the
It's not two answers, guys, that's one answer.
that's
That would be your answer, that's gonna be your coordinate, that's your x and y coordinate of the midpoint.
So you're,
Okay, so that's one answer.
wait, isn't your formula,
Sam,
wasn't the formula like, x1 plus x2 divided by 2 plus?
no comma. Hope I didn't have a plus on there. No comma. Alright, so now guys, what this is really saying is if I'm giving you the endpoints, this formula will allow you to find the midpoint. Okay, that's what this type of problem has. Now I want you to read the directions on the next slide, because this is kind of slightly different. Read the directions. Actually, you don't even have to use the formula here. You can. But that's a horrible way to do it. It is a nightmare algorithm that we're back. I want you to get it really simple. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on here graphically. What we have here is we have an unknown segment, and you have your A, you have one endpoint. You have the midpoint, and the question is, what is my other endpoint?
Oh,
Okay. So that's what this type of question is asking. Okay, we're going to give you the endpoint, the midpoint, and you got to find the other endpoint. Now again, can you guys count? Okay, pretty simple, right? Okay. So let's go back to this real quickly. I want to go back to this. Here. Okay, whoops, too far. There we go. Okay. Let's think about this real quick, guys. Just stay with me on this. All right. If this is my midpoint here, right? Here's my midpoint. If to get to here, I move over.
Pay attention for announcements. Any junior interested in learning more about ICE class for next school year should pick up an application in room 109. Seniors, local scholarship and financial aid information will be distributed Tuesday, January 29th in room 17AB. The student-parent meeting will begin.
Okay, so guys, what you're basically doing here is you're just having to count again and again. So if we're going from
Will the
to
following
midpoint,
students please report to guidance office? Megan Davis, Jeffrey Bauman, Sydney Robbins,
all right,
Alex
good.
Hall,
What do you do to go from 3 to 1?
Luke Maurer,
Or -3 to 1?
Madison Burns,
Negative
Lucas
3 to 1.
Pfeiffer, and
So you need to
Tristan
go up 4?
Catherine. Please report to
So
guidance
this is what you're
office.
going to do again.
add another 4.
Add another 4 to 1, and what do we get?
5.
5. Okay, now do your y's. What did you do to go from 6 to 2? Subtract 4. So that's what you're going to do again.
Subtract another
Come on.
2.
Really? Come on. We're going to subtract 4, and we're at -2, and therefore that's the coordinates of B. That's all you got to do.
Wait,
Okay?
I'm kind of confused.
Go ahead, Mason.
I didn't get any of that.
All right. So
Kelsey Rollins, please report to guidance office.
to go from A to M, you just keep repeating.
Okay.
So look at your x's. To go from -3 to 1, we added 4. Do it again. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, so you're just repeating that process. Okay, now go to your y's. What do you do to go from 6 to 2? You just subtract 4?
Yeah.
Do it again. 2 minus 4? -2.
So then what's the answer?
This is your answer.
-2.
5 -2 is the coordinates of B. Okay. All right, last thing I want to talk about tonight, and let's turn off the notes here. We're pretty much done with that.
It doesn't, oh, the liquid is still in here.